Hello and welcome to the 14th installment of Cincy Rims Roll Call. I'm Adam Visnick, your host, and today we are once again diving deep into the world of risk and insurance management. Today, let's unravel the journey, the challenges, and the victories our next guest has encountered. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan Theders. Jonathan, thanks so much for jumping on. How are you?
Thanks, Adam. I'm doing great.
Well, let's start where we always do. How did you personally get started in your career? Take it away.
Well, it's a family business. So my father started an insurance agency back in the late '70s, and as he describes, ever since I was 3 years old, I'd drag his old briefcase around the room and waited for him to come home from work, and always wanted to be in the insurance business. So it really started from an early career, always wanting to work for Dad. So.
Well, it sounds like it's in your blood. You you saw him from an early age. You tooled around. A lot of people as at a young age, we follow around our fathers with the lawnmower and stuff. But you saw the briefcase, and you saw him going to work every day, and it sets you off onto your career path.
Correct. Yeah. So speaking of EKU baseball, you got the right shirt on. In my senior year in high school, University of Cincinnati, which is where I was planning on going, got rid of the risk management and insurance degree program, and so I started searching and found a home at Eastern Kentucky University. It's one of the few schools at the time that had an insurance and risk management program, and went there and graduated. With my Bachelor of Science in risk management in the mid '90s.
And that's actually pretty interesting. Yes, you're a fellow Eternal Colonel. Good to have a fellow Colonel on the series. You're the first one, so thanks for that. And going back to the risk insurance management degree, tell me a little about how that helped you kind of propel your career on top of knowing that your father was in the industry already.
Absolutely. I think it was twofold. I mean, one, it gave me a great basis of knowledge and understanding. Especially in the insurance realm, risk management is a big portion, but it's oftentimes the discarded portion of our business. Most people think of it as the transactional part of securing and procuring insurance policies, and I've always had a very risk management focused effort to that. It allows underwriters to better understand risks. It allows me to be a better consultant to our customers, and so risk. I always led with risk management, and so it was a really important for me to get that basis of understanding. After graduating from Eastern, I went on to work for Cincinnati Insurance Company, and I was an underwriter from in their commercial lines insurance or business insurance unit. And what I thought I was going to get was a lot of technical knowledge and understanding of behind the scenes from insurance company, which I certainly did. But what I also got was the power of relationships. And, the people that I worked with, and one of them now is the president CEO of Cincinnati Insurance Company. So you form these relationships at an early age and realize that, the deeper you understand what a risk is about, the easier it is for an underwriter to do their job. I knew what I loved and what I didn't like about the agents that I worked with that made my job easier or harder. And so how do we translate that as a outsourced risk manager to the insurance marketplace?
That's great stuff. And you've had a lengthy and successful career, and you are where you're at today as a result of your experiences and the relationships you built. Your title today is Chairman and Chief Growth Officer at RiskSource. Can you tell me a little about, in layman's terms, what does that mean?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of all new business development. Also support our sales team on creative solution selling, and working through what we call our risk management audit. So, in a traditional sense, most insurance agents and brokers work that 90 days before the renewal. It's where if you're a CFO or a head of, chief risk officer, you're getting 1,000 phone calls from people like me. Can I quote your insurance? Can I quote your insurance? And we really prefer to work and not during that time frame. So we perform what we call a risk management audit, diving deep into the organization's policies, procedures, and controls, interviewing their key personnel, getting to know what they see as the strengths of the organization, the strengths of the department, the opportunities for growth, but mostly those risk issues, policies, procedures, work environment, company culture. So it's, for me, that's, for my job is to help make sure that we're delivering and our sales team is delivering on real value versus just the value of an insurance policy.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're integrating wholly with your clients, making sure that you know all the bits and bolts under the hood of what they do, how they operate, so that you can succeed, help them succeed as well. So that's great to hear and interesting to know. What about though, when it comes to in your career, there might have been some times where it wasn't all success, it wasn't all rainbows, as we might say. At what point was there some obstacles, specifically maybe where it comes from the small business aspect? You have a team, a growing team, it's a family-run business. What kind of things did you go through during those, various time periods that were obstacles that you had to defeat?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I mean, probably could write a book on a number of obstacles, but some that really stick out and come to my mind is, difficult conversations with customers. Having to when they run into some real challenges, and how do you come up with creative solutions, and then sometimes when you run into somebody who's less maybe honest or not telling you the entire story, and how it's as I tell people, it's good to know the great things that a company is doing, but it's more important to know the challenges that you're having. And a sense of vulnerability is really important. And I think that with some people that I've encountered in my ego and arrogance are the killer of all things. It's really, to me, it's about, being humble and knowing that you don't know everything. And together, because I will be the first to tell you, I've been doing this for 27 years and I do not know everything there is to know about my job. I learn something new every day, including this morning, but I am really good at getting answers. And I think when you have true, honest conversations, that helps tremendously. Um,
Can you share what that was this morning? Now I'm curious. Is it something you can share? Or if it's not, we can we can pass
yeah,
on.
no, I mean, today there's a whole new realm of we're working with a PEO client, and they're moving into a new realm of dealing with um, as an ACO, um, which is a little bit different. You don't have the employment agreement, but you're still performing all the services. And so I would have liked to have said all of your insurance is in place exactly the way it should be, but we need to do some double checking because it's not the exact employment arrangement that they had, yesterday that they're doing tomorrow. So yeah, it's I'll learn all about ACOs, and I knew enough just to have enough danger, but we'll know more tomorrow.
No, that's great to hear. Even at the top, even at the leadership point in your career, you're still learning every day. And I'm sure that's led to the many things on why you were successful is continue to learn. And as your title would say, grow, even though that specific growth probably means sales and marketing, yours personally needs to have enough information to be dangerous. Excellent here.
Absolutely.
Before we keep going, and I have a few more questions there. Before we rock on, we're gonna do a quick plug for Cincy Rims. First off, thanks so much for being a part of this, Jonathan. And your association with this group is valued. On Tuesday, March 26th, we do have an in-person event at the lovely historic Queen City Club from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Kendra Ramirez of KR Digital will speak, and Logan Payne of Lockton Companies will discuss managing risk in an artificial world. You can sign up for both of those at cincyrims.com, cincyrims.com. Let's get back to the interview. Okay. You mentioned your dad, obviously going to be a pivotal person in your life. What other mentors or groups or people would you rely on, or you could consider mentors in your life, Jonathan?
Yeah, so from a mentorship standpoint, I've had many, both industry and outside of industry. Really came from two main sources other than my father. One is Amanda Schultz, who's the president CEO of our company, and I've worked together with her for 21 years. We both didn't have children at the time that we started working together. It's we've really helped support each other through our careers, and I know she makes me better every day, and I feel like I make her better every day. And so it's really an honest, true way of bouncing ideas off. The other group, I've been very fortunate to have two CEO roundtables that I've been a part of. One was Next Generation Businesses. It was all those of us that were in some phase of our career taking over a family business, and been together for over 15 years. And another one was more strategy, marketing, sales, operational effectiveness. Group of 11 CEOs around the greater Cincinnati area, all very very driven and growth oriented people that we get together monthly and we discuss whether it's a specific topic or it's a round robin or what our issues and challenges are. It's a very psychologically safe environment that we feel very, very comfortable, expressing ourselves and being honest and vulnerable with the areas amongst friends that we're struggling with. And that, to me, those relationships have carried me very, very far throughout my career.
Wonderful, wonderful. And how about within the community? I've heard and read some things about RiskSource's involvement in the community. What ways do you personally get involved? What ways do you get your team to be involved when it comes to philanthropic endeavors?
Yeah, so about 16 or 17 years ago, we launched what we call our CARES program. Where at the time I was like, well, I felt like a business can either give money or they can give time or both. At the time, we had more time than we did at money, and so it was we gave each employee 30 hours a year to donate to a nonprofit of their choice. We still do that today. What's really important about and why we wanted it to be the employee's choice was we wanted to learn a little bit more. When somebody spends, 30 hours at Cincinnati Children's Hospital reading books to pediatric brain cancer patients, like my heart just is like, I don't know if I have the stomach for it. I know I'd love to, but and so, like, tell me about this. Like, why is that your choice? And you learn an immense amount about an employee by what their interests are in giving back to nonprofits. So the CARES program was just that. It's then morphed a bit broader into more holistic well-being. So how are we supporting not only through a community our employees, but also physically and financially, and how are we good stewards to the environment? And so all these different things that I think create a holistically well person. How do we support those each and every day? For my own heart, I've been really connected with the Gehring Center for Family and Private Business. So at the University of Cincinnati, it's the as I've been always told, it's the largest family business center in the country by number of members. And I've been fortunate enough to be the board chair for the last 3 years. My term's coming up in a few months. But how to give back to the community and create a more vibrant economy for Cincinnati. So you can read all the statistics around family business. It's a certain generation makes it to a very small percentage makes it the second, and even smaller makes it to the third and fourth. And so anything that we can do to help promote and educate family business to make it to that next generation, or to realize when their time is not, and appropriately transition a business. Those are very important to us. So.
Absolutely. And from a personal standpoint, I'm going to be selfish here. When you say family business, I'm assuming you have children of your own. And if so, and I think you mentioned that when you were talking about Amanda, is this always on your mind? How are we going to transition the business to eventually my family members, your family members? Talk to me a little
Yeah, well,
about that.
we do have some very exciting news. So we just recently did transition the family business, and so and my both of my children, who are absolutely remarkable. My oldest graduated from the American University and is going to grad school at Loyola this fall. She's in museums and has a real passion around history. My youngest is a junior in nursing at James Madison University in Virginia, and just wants to save the world one patient at a time. And so my
Yeah,
next generation isn't there, and so that really opened up a lot of opportunities to say, oh shoot, where am I going to be? And so we just recently partnered with a company called One Digital. They're very small in what we do, but they're very big in other things: employee benefits, retirement, and wealth, HR, human resource consulting, all the things that we gain support from others on that we're able to be kind of in-house. And so yeah, it's the way I looked at it, it was like every business succeeds. It either succeeds in failure, it succeeds in an exit, or it succeeds in a future. And I really felt like at 49 years old, this was the right time to, be a part of something and really encourage and create the right opportunity for our employees, to have that next phase of their career and next opportunities. So we're really pleased to
And move
be on
forward.
the next generation of RiskSource.
Oh, wonderfully said. I love that sound bite there. And you summarized it quite well. What challenges do you, as the chairman of your company, as well as the associations and the groups that you've already mentioned, from a high-level standpoint, what challenges do you face that you're looking to the future for right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of what we're all reading and dealing with. It's some of the challenges around artificial intelligence and what does this bring, and the advantages it brings and the new challenges and risks it brings. It's I think we're in a world where there's such an avenue of information and a different working environment. Whether you're full-time remote, you're hybrid, you're in full force. There's all kinds of challenges and issues there. So I think just really just the ever-changing environment that we are in, and thinking of what those new technologies or new risks and challenges are, and how does that impact daily life and business. When I think of myself as an outsourced risk manager, this doesn't mean to replace a chief risk officer if the company's big enough and to have one, but how do we support that, to what most mid-market businesses do. It's a hat amongst many that someone wears. And so, whether it's the CFO that's, got 10,000 hats on in a given month, and they usually put the risk hat on when they have to, when the proverbial or little fire happens. And so it's like, how do we leverage that and be there? So, thinking, what does tomorrow bring? What's impacting that business? I think there's a lot of commonalities that we all encounter. It's one of the things I realized with my CEO roundtable groups is we all have very different, from banks to making pizzas to selling pools and furniture to logistics to insurance. But when it comes down to it, we almost all have the same business challenges, and those we can come up with some really good creative solutions to make sure that we're addressing them appropriately. So I think it's a lot of research and education, but also looking to the future for what it is. So yeah.
And could you please, when you do solve the AI problem or the how we adapt to that, could you please share it with us, as well as
Sure, no problem.
how do we
I'll be
go
the
about?
first.
Please hit me in my inbox is open, ready and waiting for that. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Okay, we've answered some very you've been great so far. The answers have been fantastic. We could extrapolate on a lot of those things, and I'm sure there's a million stories we could tell. But we've had some hard-hitting questions, so to speak. Now we want to do some softball style questions here. We're getting towards the end of the interview, and the segment we always end it off with Cincy Rims Rapid Fire. Now, Jonathan, you mentioned you're an Eastern Kentucky alumni. So with that said, though, I think that you are a Cincinnati native. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
That's right. All right. The first question, easy enough for you. You ready for it?
Bring it
Gold,
on.
Gold Star or Skyline?
Gold Star.
Okay. What high school did you go to?
Fairfield High School in Butler County.
How about that? Same as my wife. Reds, Bengals, or FCC?
I actually love all three, but I am a diehard Reds fan, so I do love my baseball.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. Jonathan, anything you want to shout out to, plug, throw it out there for us? I'm sure the audience would love to hear more from you.
Well, biggest thing for me is just always be looking ahead. Ask good questions. Surround yourself with great people that also ask great questions, and then utilize your resources. Whether that's trusted advisor partners, for on my side, if it's the insurance side, how do you best utilize those relationships? You know call on them beyond just the insurance policy. Call on your CPA just beyond your taxes. Call on your legal representation just beyond the contract. But how do we get these trusted advisors actually looking and growing and helping best position your business for success tomorrow? That to me, I think is the future. I think it's the way AI is utilized and broken. Because if we just focus on the transactional part of solutions, that can and always be replaced. But trusted business relationships will last forever.
That's great stuff right there, Jonathan. Thanks so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on as our guest for Cincy Rim's Roll Call. Again, I'm Adam Visnick. Thanks for allowing me to be your host. We'll catch you next time. Thanks,
So,
Jonathan.
bye.